It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. In the quiet spaces of daily life, unseen behaviors betray the strongest facades. Every handshake, pause, or glance is a battlefield where your vulnerabilities are scanned, mapped, and exploited by those attuned to weakness. Confidence alone is insufficient. Mastery comes from concealing uncertainty, from ensuring that hesitation does not leak into your movements. Subtle signs, often dismissed as inconsequential, act as flags to predators and competitors. A twitch of the eye, a rushed sentence, a fleeting hesitation, all these are invitations to test, to probe, to undermine. The enemy is not loud or overt. It is invisible, patient, observing. Your first act of strategy is to recognize that weakness is never hidden from those trained to find it. They scan for inconsistency, contradiction, and uncertainty, treating every conversation like a chessboard. One misplaced word can expose a pawn's vulnerability. Every weakness, no matter how minor, becomes a target if left unguarded. Those who fail to observe themselves fall into traps laid by opportunists and manipulators who read signals like maps of terrain, calculating angles, measuring response times, and weighing the risks of engagement. You must act before they do. Discipline your posture, steady your voice, and align your thoughts with action. Observe your habits under the scrutiny of an invisible eye, knowing that any deviation invites challenge. The subtle tremor of indecision in a meeting signals to colleagues that authority can be questioned. The slight over-explanation in conversation marks a mind searching for approval rather than issuing command. The failure to enforce personal boundaries reveals a field ready for encroachment. In each case, the cost of blindness is cumulative. Respect diminishes, influence wanes, and the power you assume to possess evaporates in the presence of those attuned to weakness. Recognize the battlefield in ordinary encounters. When a subordinate offers resistance or a peer challenges a plan, respond with calm precision. Stand firm. Articulate your position without agitation, and demonstrate through controlled action that hesitation has no place in your presence. Weak, reactive, scattered, defensive. Strong, composed, deliberate, commanding. Weak, seeking validation. Strong, projecting authority. Weak, vulnerable to subtle manipulations. Strong, impervious, disciplined, observing. Every action, every glance, every pause is an opportunity to assert sovereignty over your domain. Train yourself to detect the invisible betrayals before they escalate. Respond to subtle provocations with calculated restraint. Monitor your own impulses, removing micro-expressions and habits that expose uncertainty. Turn your daily interactions into a practice of vigilance, a rehearsal of strategic dominance. Even a simple disagreement handled with measured poise teaches observers that your authority is untouchable. In doing so, you create an environment where weakness is unprofitable to display and strength is recognized immediately. The unseen battlefield rewards those who respect the rules of subtle engagement and punishes those who ignore them. Each choice, each motion, each silent observation fortifies your position. Your presence alone should communicate readiness, control, and the ability to endure scrutiny without faltering. Confront weakness as it arises, internally and externally, and you transform ordinary moments into instruments of sovereignty. Dominate the signals you emit, conceal hesitation, and never allow uncertainty to surface. Through disciplined observation, controlled response, and strategic awareness, you achieve the first principle of mastery. The enemy within reveals nothing, while you strike decisively when the moment demands. Observe, conceal, dominate. Your mind is your throne, and every thought is a soldier awaiting orders. Weak people allow distractions, gossip, and impulse to storm the gates, surrendering control to the chaos outside. To command your environment, you must first command the inner kingdom. Disciplined thought is the armor that shields you from provocation, the silent watchtower that observes before acting. Dominion over your thoughts separates the sovereign from the subject. Weak minds react without strategy. They leap at insults, mirror emotions, and crumble under uncertainty. Strong minds anticipate, measure, and respond with precision. Observation is a weapon. By watching the subtle gestures, tones, and hesitations of those around you, you can map intentions, detect vulnerability, and predict moves before they unfold. Every conversation becomes a reconnaissance mission. Every meeting a war council, every glance an intelligence report. The throne does not tremble at whispers. It sees patterns invisible to the untrained eye. Mental armor is forged through vigilance and restraint. Minor provocations are natural in social combat. Snide remarks, interruptions, challenges, but they must not penetrate your walls. When a colleague contradicts your proposal with veiled aggression, respond calmly, restate your vision, and advance your argument with unwavering authority. Weak, defensive, reactive, emotional, strong, composed, deliberate, observing. Weak, scattered, easily swayed. Strong, focused, strategic, sovereign. Weak, exposed. Strong, protected, commanding, untouchable. Treat your own thoughts as the central command of a vast empire. Inspect assumptions, challenge impulses, and discard distractions that weaken your mental fortitude. Anticipate the maneuvers of others, recognizing that inattention to subtle cues is equivalent to leaving your gates unguarded. Use your focus to create clarity in the chaos of daily interactions. Every choice, every pause, every reflection should reinforce your authority over your internal landscape. The throne is strengthened not by reaction, but by deliberate strategy, by seeing the battlefield in microcosm and acting with calculated restraint. Harness this clarity to enforce boundaries, maintain presence, and project unshakable stability. Internal sovereignty radiates externally. Those who perceive your disciplined mind respect your judgment, fear the consequences of missteps, and defer to your command. Cultivate the habit of silent observation, transforming ordinary moments into exercises of strategic mastery. Let no petty distraction or impulsive thought dislodge you from your seat of power. Maintain the inner fortress, survey your environment with patience, and issue commands from a place of unassailable clarity. In doing so, you transform mental discipline into tangible advantage, converting observation into insight, restraint into influence, and sovereignty into presence. Every interaction becomes a test of subtle dominance, every encounter an opportunity to assert your throne without overt aggression. Protect your mind as you would a fortress under siege, for the strongest leader is first a master of self. Command within, conquer without. The first hours of the day are the opening volley of a campaign, and those who squander dawn surrender the initiative before the battle begins. Weak people drift from sleep to distraction, allowing indecision and hesitation to dictate their pace. The strong understand that mornings are a battlefield where control is earned and weakness exposed. Seize the first hours with deliberate action, for the routine you impose upon yourself dictates the energy, focus, and influence you project for the entire day. The early moments are a reconnaissance mission. The preparation of mind and body signals readiness to allies and asserts dominance over competitors. Delay is a vulnerability. Arriving late to your own day, acting scattered or indecisive, reveals inferiority faster than words ever could. Those around you instinctively detect hesitation, subtle cues of tardiness, distraction, or lack of preparation betray a lack of self-command. Weak, reactive, disorganized, drifting. Strong, proactive, structured, commanding. Transform your mornings into a tactical advantage. Exercise, planning, and mental rehearsal are weapons that secure your position before the world has fully awakened. Observe the subtle rhythms of your environment, identify potential obstacles, and neutralize them with preemptive action. When a colleague attempts to disrupt your morning flow with unnecessary urgency, respond with calm authority, maintain your routine, and continue executing your plan without visible agitation. Every controlled action compounds into strategic leverage. Every decisive step expands influence. Early dominance radiates throughout social, professional, and personal arenas, establishing you as an unshakable presence. Treat each sunrise as a campaign kickoff. The hours you claim determine the momentum of the day. Ignore this battlefield, and chaos infiltrates decision-making, drains energy, and erodes authority. Command your time with military precision. Wake early, prioritize tasks, and structure activity with clear intention. By mastering the morning, you assert control over both internal and external spheres, projecting discipline that others unconsciously respect. Mental clarity and physical readiness become shields against distraction and attempts to manipulate pace. Use these hours to consolidate resources, plan engagements, and execute with foresight. The world responds to those who arrive first. Act deliberately and maintain unbroken focus. Establishing dominance in these hours ensures your strategies unfold with minimal resistance, influence accumulates naturally, and subtle weaknesses in others are revealed for observation. The battlefield of the day is won before most even rise. The sovereign is present, prepared, and undeterred. Weakness waits for daylight to falter. Strength seizes it and turns it into advantage. Conquer dawn, command the day. Silence is a weapon few wield effectively, yet its mastery defines the sovereign mind. The weak rush to fill voids with chatter, betraying insecurity and impatience. Stillness, when strategically applied, is the predator's ambush. Controlled pauses unsettle impulsive individuals, forcing them to reveal intentions prematurely. Every moment you refrain from speaking, you gather information, assess energy, and project dominance without a word. Reading the room becomes effortless when your presence is anchored in quiet observation. Subtle gestures, fleeting expressions, and involuntary tics emerge from those unguarded by restraint. Weak, reactive, verbose, exposed. Strong, observant, measured, commanding. Allow your mind to scan, interpret, and anticipate movements, much like a chess player surveying the board before committing a piece. The power of restraint is evident when someone attempts to provoke a response. Your calm, deliberate demeanor neutralizes their pressure. A colleague challenges your proposal with unnecessary hostility. You pause, listen intently, and respond with precision, demonstrating authority without escalation. Silence amplifies your psychological edge. By overcommitting vocally, others exhaust themselves and signal weakness. You avoid this trap by speaking sparingly, letting actions and presence carry weight. Stillness functions as both shield and sword, concealing intent while compelling respect. Controlled pauses punctuate conversation with authority, turning your words into instruments of influence rather than noise. The mind that remains quiet maintains a tactical advantage, assessing threats, opportunities, and alliances with clarity. In professional settings, meetings, or negotiations, those who dominate the rhythm of discourse silently steer outcomes, while impulsive participants stumble over words and intentions. Observe carefully, intervene selectively, and maintain an aura of unshakable calm. Your restraint encourages reflection in others, compels listening, and exposes hidden vulnerabilities. Strategic silence is not passive, it is deliberate, commanding, and predatory in effect. Integrate pauses into decision-making, communication, and observation to strengthen presence. Each measured second compounds influence, subtly dictating the pace and tenor of interactions. The weak rush, speak, and signal their position prematurely. You remain patient, calculating, and in command. Transform silence into a visible force, a throne from which you survey and act decisively. Let stillness be your declaration of power. Master silence, own the room. Weakness tolerated is weakness repeated. Every habit, association, and distraction that erodes power is an enemy at the gate, demanding swift and calculated elimination. Your throne is not maintained by indecision, it is fortified through ruthless discernment. Begin with internal weakness. Identify behaviors that sabotage productivity, decision-making, or self-respect. Procrastination, overindulgence, and inconsistent focus are the first casualties of a disciplined mind. Confront these flaws with the precision of a battlefield surgeon. Replace hesitation with action, doubt with clarity, and distraction with strategic focus. Each conquered personal limitation compounds authority, signaling to yourself and others that mediocrity is unacceptable. Next, examine relationships. The people around you either reinforce strength or amplify vulnerability. Peripheral influences that sow uncertainty, drain energy, or exploit weaknesses must be severed without hesitation. Weak, passive connections tolerated, strong, critical alliances enforced. Every gesture broadcasts your strength or reveals your weakness. Authority is a mask, and those who wear it convincingly dictate perception. In social hierarchies, every posture, every tone, every subtle movement communicates power before words are spoken. Projecting strength begins with the body. Shoulders squared, spine aligned, gaze steady. Your voice must carry decisiveness. Hesitation is the predator's cue. Act with the precision of a chess master moving pieces, ensuring each motion signals control. Subtle cues, hand placement, facial composure, micro pauses form invisible armor that shields intent. The weak read patterns, they overanalyze hesitation, tone fluctuations, and uncertainty. When you maintain consistency, their attempts to exploit cracks fail before they begin. Strength can be performed and internalized simultaneously. Adopt the false calm of the strong. Exude patience even when urgency threatens. A subordinate challenges your proposal in a meeting. You maintain steady posture, measured tone, and concise language. Acknowledge the concern, redirect to strategy, and retain authority without aggression. This micro-example demonstrates how controlled presence diffuses potential disruption while reinforcing dominance. Weak, reactive, anxious, and overtly emotional, strong, composed, deliberate, and strategically expressive. Establish routines that reinforce these behaviors until they become automatic. Let perception and reality converge. Each controlled pause, each measured word, each deliberate gesture constructs a fortress around your influence. Remember, command is not merely exerted, it is signaled continuously through subtle, observable patterns. Shield vulnerabilities with disciplined exterior cues, and your presence becomes the invisible blade no predator can approach without hesitation. Build mental and physical alignment so that the mask of authority is inseparable from your actions, creating a perception that is unassailable and respected. Strength is silent, yet felt everywhere. Ruthlessness begins in silence. Your mind is the battlefield where efficiency and distraction clash, and you are the only general capable of decisive action. Self-discipline is your weapon. Hesitation and procrastination are the enemy. Each moment squandered strengthens weakness. Each lapse ignored feeds internal predators waiting for opportunity. Observe your thoughts with the precision of a seasoned assassin, identifying friction points before they metastasize. Preemptive strikes neutralize potential collapse. A postponed decision, a wavering focus, a half-finished task. Anticipate these threats and act swiftly, eliminating them with methodical consistency. Doubt is the hidden predator within, stalking every choice and amplifying indecision. Silence it before it whispers loudly enough to undermine action. When fear of failure rises, confront it with measured repetition. Rehearse confidence, rehearse clarity, rehearse command. Weak, reactive, fragmented and permissive, strong, decisive, concentrated and relentless. Establish systems that minimize internal friction, structured routines, prioritize tasks, and clear mental frameworks so that hesitation has no ground to survive. Treat every thought as a potential ally or threat. Act decisively to secure loyalty from the first and neutralize the latter. When a challenging project or decision presents itself, approach it with clarity and immediacy. Small delays compound into larger vulnerabilities if left unattended. Internal assassinations are not violent. They are deliberate eliminations of inefficiency and mental clutter, allowing the mind to operate at peak strategic capacity. Discipline is both shield and blade, guarding against internal decay while striking preemptively at distraction and doubt. This requires unwavering attention to your own behavior, continuous assessment of priorities, and the courage to remove comforts that erode potency. Each day, audit mental habits, reinforce decisiveness, and enforce accountability. Let your inner assassin move without hesitation, unseen but always effective. Build an environment where thought is aligned with action, where preparation and execution are inseparable, and where the silent elimination of internal threats becomes routine. By mastering this internal battlefield, you ensure external conflicts are met from a position of unshakable strength and composure. Silence the doubt. Strike with precision. Strength is not given, it is fed and sharpened relentlessly. Like a predator sustained by calculated hunts, your mind grows formidable when consistently nourished with focus, discipline, and awareness. Training the mind is the first act of sovereignty. Fortify attention, exercise memory, and observe relentlessly. Each mental repetition is a muscle flexed, each disciplined choice an internal fang sharpened. Weak people allow their cognition to atrophy through neglect. They indulge minor distractions, defer learning, and accept superficial engagement. Starve these weak habits before they grow. Remove indulgences that dull instinct and multiply vulnerability. Eliminate idle scrolling, trivial disputes, and fleeting pleasures that feed hidden internal predators waiting to sabotage clarity. Strength requires continuous reinforcement. Challenge your perception, analyze situations critically, and confront uncomfortable truths without hesitation. Cognitive vigilance transforms the mind into a silent hunter, alert to subtle flaws in yourself and others, able to detect hesitation, insecurity, or inconsistency long before they manifest outwardly. When a peer or subordinate attempts to undermine or distract, respond with calm decisiveness, redirect focus without confrontation, reinforce priorities without emotion. Weak, reactive, fragmented, passive, strong, proactive, precise, discipline. The mental predator thrives on repetition, calculated exposure, and continuous sharpening. It does not tolerate stagnation. Adopt daily practices that test memory, observation, and analytical reasoning. Puzzles, strategy exercises, reflection, and structured learning. Reward success through measurable growth and punish weakness by refusing indulgence. Each act of mental fortification strengthens your internal predator and diminishes hidden vulnerabilities that otherwise embolden external threat. Consistency compounds power. The predator fed daily becomes dominant, while the neglected wolf withers, its hunger unnoticed until opportunity is lost. Apply vigilance to every decision, every conversation, every fleeting thought. Approach life as a series of hunts, where preparation and observation determine survival and authority. Let every small victory reinforce discipline, and every distraction be treated as an enemy eliminated before it can strike. Feed strength, starve weakness, hunt relentless. Every encounter is a move on the infinite chessboard of life, and only those who see beyond the surface control the game. Predicting the weak begins with pattern recognition. Watch habits, listen to repetitions, and observe hesitation. The faltering step, the delayed response, the inconsistent decision, these are openings you exploit silently. The weak operate on autopilot, their actions predictable to anyone who pays attention. Do not act hastily. Allow their tendencies to reveal themselves while you maintain calm oversight. Strategic positioning is your armor and weapon. Maneuver subtly, placing yourself where exploitation is impossible and influence is maximized. Align with allies, safeguard your vulnerabilities, and position ideas, words, and choices in layers that defend while advancing your objectives. Avoid overt aggression. Let your placement speak while others reveal themselves through rash moves. Endgame awareness ensures dominance before conflict arises. Anticipate 2 or 3 moves ahead. Foresee objections, missteps, and hidden motives. When a colleague attempts to manipulate a conversation for personal gain, respond with measured clarity. Acknowledge the point without surrendering position, steering the interaction toward outcomes that favor stability and authority. Weak, reactive, short-sighted, exposed. Strong, proactive, calculated, untouchable. Each decision must serve multiple layers of strategy: the immediate effect, the social impression, and the long-term alignment of your influence. Build foresight through reflection, study, and tactical rehearsal. Revisit past interactions to understand missteps and recognize patterns you previously missed. Guard against impulsivity. The chessboard rewards patience and punishes haste. Maintain mental clarity under pressure and let observation dictate action, not emotion. Do not allow yourself to be predictable. Shift subtly, remain unreadable, and anticipate the ripple effects of every choice. Recognize that power is as much about perception as execution. Control the narrative of your own moves, and others will unconsciously follow the rhythm you set. Mastering this requires relentless discipline. Note tendencies, track progress, and recalibrate strategies with precision. Weakness in others is never your target alone. It is an opportunity to refine your own foresight, to train judgment, and to strengthen resilience. Play the game with silent authority, letting your strategy unfold without overt declaration. The end game is not simply victory. It is dominance achieved through clarity, anticipation, and positional mastery. See the moves before they come. Strength is forged in repetition, not in fleeting bursts of will. Daily reinforcement is your weapon and shield. Each repeated mental exercise, each disciplined physical motion builds an internal army that obeys without hesitation. Begin with simple actions. Focus on posture, control breathing, sharpen observation, and repeat until each becomes instinct. Weakness thrives where repetition falters. The individual who skips rituals leaves cracks in armor that predators of circumstance and human nature immediately recognize. Symbolic acts of sovereignty amplify your internal strength. Make your rituals visible to yourself in subtle ways. The morning preparation of your mind, the deliberate placement of objects, the steady cadence of deliberate steps. These acts do not demand recognition from others. Their power lies in self-confirmation, silently signaling that you are a force organized and unwavering. Habit becomes your fortress. Through automatic, disciplined repetition, you remove opportunities for weakness to surface. Mental and physical conditioning converge, creating a foundation that demands respect and confounds attempts at subtle manipulation. When a colleague challenges your authority during a team meeting, remain composed. Acknowledge their perspective without disruption, guide the discussion with measured control, and reinforce your position through calm decisiveness rather than reaction. Weak, inconsistent, reactive, vulnerable, strong, habitual, deliberate, impenetrable. Daily reinforcement ensures that strength is not circumstantial but permanent. Approach each morning as a general inspects the battlefield. Review plans, rehearse maneuvers, and visualize contingency. Let rituals dictate rhythm, and the mind will follow. Disciplined and strategic. Treat each task, each thought, each interaction as part of a continuous campaign, never leaving openings for distraction or indecision. Measure progress through resilience, not speed. Endurance is the ultimate indicator of internal sovereignty. Strength manifests in the subtlety of unwavering routines, in the invisible preparation that renders external challenges powerless. Mastery is not flamboyant, it is consistent, methodical, and silent. Let repetition be your armor, your sword, and your shield, and every act becomes an assertion of untouchable presence. Build these habits relentlessly, and external pressures become manageable, even predictable. Rituals do not merely train actions, they discipline perception, creating a mind that anticipates weakness in self and others before it appears. Command your day, command your life, and let every repeated act of sovereignty reinforce the empire within. Discipline is your unbroken throne. Presence is a weapon forged through disciplined mastery, and the untouchable mind commands more than respect. It disarms attempts at manipulation before they arise. Psychological immunity begins with understanding that perception is as real as reality. Your silence, measured reactions, and unpredictable strategy project a strength that cannot be mapped. Every gesture, every pause, every controlled word signals an internal fortress where uncertainty and fear cannot penetrate. Social deterrence emerges naturally from this posture. Predators, opportunists, and subtle antagonists sense the cost of intrusion and retreat, leaving openings untested. They observe, calculate, and ultimately avoid confrontation because your aura communicates consequences without threat. Maintain this by mastering external composure, remain calm under scrutiny, project unwavering attention, and let actions speak where words fall short. Internal sovereignty is the keystone of untouchability. When the mind governs impulses, desires, and emotions, external events lose the power to destabilize. Morning rituals, deliberate mental exercises, and the practice of silent observation create a baseline of strength that cannot be borrowed or stolen. During team discussions, if a colleague questions your direction, respond with measured clarity, acknowledge the perspective, restate your plan confidently, and advance without defensiveness. Weak, reactive, easily shaken, inconsistent, strong, composed, impenetrable, consistent. Reinforce boundaries daily by controlling inputs, what you see, hear, and engage with, because untouchable individuals shape their environment rather than letting it dictate them. Habits of reflection, preparation, and calculated unpredictability allow you to remain several steps ahead, like a grandmaster positioning pieces across a chessboard unseen by opponents. The mind becomes a silent sentinel, scanning for vulnerabilities and eliminating openings before they can be exploited. Presence, like armor, protects both ambition and integrity, making intrusion costly and futile. Let every movement, every interaction, and every decision be deliberate, a visible testament to the empire of self-command within. Untouchable people are neither loud nor reckless. They are precise, deliberate, and unwavering. When pressure mounts, retain calm judgment, respond strategically, and observe without distraction. Psychological immunity, social deterrence, and internal sovereignty combine into a singular force, making you untouchable in perception and practice. Integrate all prior lessons, ritual, anticipation, composure, and strategic action, and the world will defer naturally to your presence. Master yourself, command all. Power is not granted. It is claimed in silence, in observation, and in the disciplined mastery of presence. To embody the apex predator mindset, You must integrate every tactic into a seamless whole, allowing instinct to carry strategy without hesitation. Stillness becomes your first weapon. In a room of chaos, your calm scans every movement, measures every intention, and dictates outcomes before words are exchanged. Discipline follows, not as restriction but as internal sovereignty, where habits forge resilience and repeated rituals create an armor of automatic strength. Observation is your unseen eye, recording behavior, patterns, and cracks in the psyche of others, transforming every interaction into intelligence. Presence projects authority like the scent of a dominant predator in the wild. It is felt before it is seen, sensed before it is challenged, a quiet signal that any threat will be met with precision and inevitability. Integration of tactics means silence, attention, and measured action become instinctive. You do not need to assert loudly. The room bends around your rhythm because you command from within, and external validation becomes irrelevant. Unseen authority functions like shadowed dominance. The apex predator does not announce its territory with noise, but with a presence so complete that intrusion becomes costly. Weakness in others is illuminated simply by your composed awareness. Hesitation, panic, and impulsiveness reveal themselves against the backdrop of your mastery. When colleagues or peers question your methods, respond with measured clarity, acknowledge their point, restate your intent, and advance your plan without defensiveness. Weak, reactive, scattered, exposed, strong, silent, deliberate, untouchable. Internal sovereignty ensures that external events, insults, challenges, or unpredictable circumstances cannot destabilize your equilibrium. Training the mind through daily reflection, visualization, and controlled engagement makes responses automatic and strategic rather than impulsive. Every gesture, glance, and decision becomes a statement of command, an unspoken deterrent to opportunists. The apex predator mindset culminates in the final transformation. Influence flows effortlessly because your internal structure radiates strength. Those around you act within the parameters you set, without confrontation, sensing the cost of deviation. You move undetected, yet dominant, a force that shapes outcomes without needing to prove itself. Integration, observation, discipline, and presence converge into a singular, unstoppable form where weakness is repelled before it surfaces. Your environment bends to your silent authority, and power is absolute in its subtlety. Let every action, every pause, and every decision be precise, deliberate, and anchored in mastery. Move unseen, command all. Every day you decide whether you are sovereign or a spectator. Presence is a throne you build from discipline, observation, and deliberate action. To crown yourself in mastery, you must internalize every subtle lesson, letting ritual and awareness shape thought, decision, and behavior until they are instinctive. Begin with daily enforcement, review your interactions, recognize weak signals in others, and calibrate your responses. Observe hesitation, impulsiveness, and inconsistency as if scanning a battlefield. Weakness exposes itself to those who watch it collapses under the weight of your calm scrutiny. Discipline your reactions so that no provocation, insult, or challenge destabilizes you. Respond with measured authority. Silence where others expect noise, certainty where others fumble, foresight where others react. A colleague questions your approach, acknowledge their point with a nod, then advance your plan unshaken. Weak, reactive, scattered, fearful, strong, deliberate, composed, untouchable. Social dynamics obey the apex predator. Those who sense your internal sovereignty defer, hesitate, and adapt to your rhythm. Influence is silent, power is invisible yet undeniable. Internalize this legacy of mastery, for respect and freedom are not granted, but earned through consistency. Each decision, each glance, each measured word contributes to a presence that repels manipulation and opportunism. Let observation guide strategy and ritual cement authority. Perform daily checks of thought and behavior, as if maintaining armor for battle, repairing gaps before they are exploited. Presence becomes contagious. Others instinctively recognize competence, integrity, and unshakable command. Your environment bows not because you demand, but because you endure and outlast. Persist until mastery is reflex, observation instinctive, and reactions automatic. Weakness is never invited, it is repelled before it emerges. Your influence flows effortlessly, rooted in silent confidence, disciplined action, and unwavering internal structure. Embed this mantra into every morning, every decision, and every interaction. I see what others cannot. I endure what others fear. I am sovereign, untouchable, unshakable.